Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast, brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVRealtor.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday. Hey, baby, how are you doing today?
Hey, super. How are you?
I'm doing good, doing really good. We got a fun guest coming up later in the program. There's a guy by the name of Kevin Black. Now, if the name kind of sounds familiar, he's got a celebrity brother, Clint Black, country music star. And we actually saw Clint Black on Celebrity Apprentice a few years ago. He seems like a really neat guy. And I'm excited to visit with his brother, Kevin Black. Sadly, he lost his daughter at age 16, and he's trying to fight the disease that he lost his daughter to. He's trying to help find a cure for it. And he's got a really cool project. It's called Raising a Hand. And we're going to tell you all about that when we get a chance to visit with Kevin. That'll be later in the program. Hey, it is Thursday, and I've got some news over here. A report says that math scores have come up a bit for the U.S. for 4th graders and 8th graders. So our math scores have come up a bit. That's good news, isn't it?
I suppose.
I don't know how much they've come up, but they've come up a little bit. So good news for the 4th graders and the 8th graders, but all the rest of you guys got some work to do. All right, got some fun stuff to share on this Thursday. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Get razors for $1 a month plus a few bucks shipping, so you can enjoy fresh razors every month for as little as $3. Learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio.
Soon, Heidi, there could be something fishy about your baby's diapers. Listen to this. The University of Wisconsin food scientist Sravinan Damondon, I don't know if I'm saying any of that right, patented a process that turns ground-up fish into an absorbent, biodegradable gel that could be used in diapers. Scientists claim that this product would absorb 400 times its own weight in water.
Right, but does it stink?
I don't know. It says, well, disposable diapers absorb only 100 times their own weight. The diapers are allegedly more environmentally friendly as the fish-based gel deteriorates in landfills within 28 days, while other petroleum-based gels break down much more slowly. So they're saying, hey, if you use these fishy diapers, they're going to break down a whole lot quicker. But a good question from Heidi, do they stink? I know they do after they're used, but do they before they're used?
Right. I don't want my kids smelling like fish.
Is that... What's going on? I got a child here with a diaper. You change that. No, it's clean. That's what they smell like when they come out. All right. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We've got some fun stuff to share here in just a bit. You're not going to believe it, but you have to because you're going to hear it on the radio.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you want to buy or sell an RV, go to RVRealtor.com. List your RV for free. Learn more at RVRealtor.com.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. Imagine being separated from your brother at birth, but later discovering that you're working right next to him at a furniture store. That's what happened.
Weird.
36-year-old Gary Nisbet and 35-year-old Randy Jolbert both worked at Dow Furniture Removals in Waldoboro, Maine. Co-workers always thought they kind of looked a lot alike. They said, we could be brothers. Well, it turns out they were. Apparently, both men were given up for adoption as babies. They attended rival high schools and lived in neighboring towns in Maine. Their first meeting came last July when they started working at Dow Furniture. Both men knew the names of their biological parents, who have both since passed on. And through a casual conversation, they uncovered their amazing story that, when I was a kid, I was adopted. Oh, so was I.
Oh,
and
weird.
they get to talking, and he's like, well, my birth parents were so-and-so. And he's like, well, so were mine.
Weird.
So Randy said he was a little starstruck and blown away. He just could not believe it. After the brother's story was covered by local media, they discovered they have a half-sister, 41-year-old Joanne Campbell, who turned up at their workplace with her birth certificate. So she didn't work there, though. So she just showed up to say, hey, I'm your sister. How weird would that be if the lady that worked in the office, I work here, too.
Hey, I'm your
it's
sister.
cool that those two work together. And I've heard that's not the only time that's happened. I read a story about some boys that were separated when they were little tiny kids. And they were both adopted, different families, and they both became plumbers, and they looked a lot alike, and there were people who knew both of them, and they're like, you guys have got to be related, and they were actually twins. So it's a weird story, but it's a true story. You know it's true because...
You heard it on the radio. The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again?
844-204-1055.
And this is your brain on drugs. Rodney Northey. Well, he knew how to get the attention of the police by tooting his horn over and over and over and over. Officers in Glen Falls, New York, pulled over Northey for excessive horn blowing. And they ended up charging him with drunk driving. Police say Northey told them he wanted to let people in the town, downtown, know that he was in town. So he said, I was pulling in. I wanted to let all the folks at the bars know that I was here. So he's honking his horn over and over and over.
Oh, my goodness.
And they pulled him over for doing that. Apparently that's illegal. I didn't know that was illegal. I'm going to have to quit doing that when I drive from now on. I don't really do that. But I can tell you this. Don't drink and drive, period. But if you are drinking and driving, don't draw attention to yourself by doing that. That's just a dumb idea, period. So, I don't know. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. That's going to do it for your brain on drugs. We have your moment of duh coming your way in a bit.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Keystone Treatment Center. Addiction is no laughing matter. Call Keystone Treatment Center toll-free at 1-844-204-1055.
Now your moment of duh. Sometimes only one mistake on a test can get you a failing grade, especially if it's a driving test and you do this. A young a young Portage, Indiana woman's call. It's completely different.
That's completely
Portage. She's from Portage, Indiana, not Portuguese. Anyway, she was trying to get her driver's license, and she crashed into the license branch. 20-year-old woman was pulling into a parking spot outside of the license branch when she hit the accelerator instead of the brake.
No.
Jumped the curb, went into the building, took out a large glass window, and damaged a door and a low brick wall. Neither people in the car were injured, but she did fail her test. So.
Yeah, I would assume so.
How did I do? Did I pass? Probably not. All right. Did you do anything dumb on your driver's test when you were...
I didn't have to drive.
You didn't have to drive for your driver's test?
No, I took driver's education, and I passed driver's education, and then I took the written exam, and I passed, so I got my license.
That's not fair. That's not how I did it.
And if you've taken... I grew up in Iowa, and I don't know if it's still this way, but when I was growing up, like the people who had to drive, it was kind of like a lottery. It was luck of the draw. If you had to drive,
that explains so much.
No,
because
kidding. I had to drive in driver's ed. I had to drive all the time to pass driver's education. If you don't have driver's education, of course, you always have to drive with the
exam. Just walk in.
Exam.
Like, here's your license. You look good. Coming up, we have your scoop of the day. That's on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Time now for the Scoop of the Day. No, I don't do it that way. How do I start that break? Oh, here we go. Now your Scoop of the Day. I'm going to just redo that last break, too. Can I redo that instead of having the Portuguese thing in there?
No.
Yeah, that's
funny.
Now your scoop of the day. In Arizona, a FedEx truck was impounded and several people were arrested when it was found that illegal aliens were being brought across the border in a FedEx truck. So somebody said, hey, I'm going to get my Federal Express shipment of illegal immigrants. That's bad. Hey, listen to this, Heidi. Couples who live in a red state are 27% more likely to get divorced than people who live in blue states. So, what are you looking at?
I have something to say, but I'm not going to.
Because that smirk on your face tells me it'll probably get us fired. A drunk, one-legged man in the United Kingdom. Okay, I'm going to stop right here. This is a true story. I'm not trying to make fun of anybody, so I'm going to just continue reading. A drunk, one-legged man in the UK was so frustrated with a flat tire that he started shooting at a mechanic's garage with an air rifle. Police arrested the man, who admitted that, yes, he had been drinking. That's a bad idea. A Vermont chocolate factory worker apparently hated his job enough that he wanted to get fired, so he called in a bomb threat.
Oh,
Police
man.
say 22-year-old Christoph Pregner, I don't know how you say his name, anyway, stole a co-worker's cell phone, made a false bomb threat under a different worker's name to the Barry Catabalt Chocolate Factory in St. Albans, they say that he threw the phone in a toilet tank when he was done. So, hey, can I borrow your phone? And he used the phone.
But if he wanted to get... Did he really want to get fired, or was he just trying to screw around? Because if you want to get fired, there's easier ways to get fired without getting yourself arrested, too.
You're right, because and he used a different coworker's name, so I'm not sure what is going to... How you get fired? How are you going to do that? By lying to a whole lot of people. All right, driving with your pets can be a dangerous business. In a recent survey by the AAA Foundation for the Traffic Safety and Krugo, a pet product company, they say 80% of respondents said that they have driven with their pet in a variety of car trips, including day trips, local errands, and leisure trips, and the pet store and dog parks and to work. But only 17% said they use any sort of restraint when the pet was in the vehicle, causing a distraction, AAA says, equal to taking a cell phone or texting while driving. So saying when they were driving, their dog was roaming free. Every time we've been in the car,
our dogs are always roaming free.
Every once in a while, I scoot over and just let them drive. I'm like, hey, jump in there. You go ahead. You know what? You're from Iowa. You
Mandy
can just drive.
Mandy is always on the driver's shoulders while we're driving.
The dogs are not from Iowa. That's just you that's from Iowa.
No, but I was driving one time with my dog when I lived in Iowa, Nuggie.
Oh, no.
And she was in the passenger seat.
What kind of wonky story is this?
I was going around.
Going around a corner?
I was going around the corner. And she decided she wanted to jump on my lap.
Oh, no.
And it made me jerk the steering wheel.
Okay.
I ended up in somebody's front lawn. And so my car's in their lawn, and I'm honking on the horn. Because the dog bumped me. And so my arm was on the horn, so I'm in their front yard, wailing on the horn. They come to the front door, they're looking outside. I just drove away.
So what you're saying is you agree with this study?
Yes.
It is dangerous.
I definitely agree with the study.
Oh, boy. Astronomers are puzzled by a blank spot in the universe that they say is 600 million trillion miles of nothingness. And I said it right, 600 million trillion miles of nothingness. Beyond the stars. They're just going on, and there's nothing out there. They're confused. Maybe that's the edge. Laser beams from space have discovered that there are massive flowing lakes of water underneath the ice at Antarctica. So they found water under the ice. Flowing water.
So they're usually water under ice.
I don't know, apparently. That's going to do it for our... I'm done. We got a strange law. Let's just get to that. I had like 3 other stories, but because of yours, we don't really have time for those. Our strange law. In England, a bed may not be hung out of a window.
Okay.
I don't know why you would want to do that anyway. That's your strange law. This has been your Scoop of the Day.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RoughToughKennels.com. Dog kennels and accessories sent to your front door wherever you live. Your dog deserves it. Learn more at RoughToughKennels.com.
Thank you so much for joining us on the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday. We've got a special guest on the telephone line right now. We have Kevin Black, and Kevin Black has a book that he's putting out right now, and this is a book for a really good cause. Kevin, thanks for joining us. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm doing great. Thank you, and thanks for welcoming me in your neighborhood.
Well, we're glad to have you on the program. Now, there are some people listening right now that probably know your brother, Clint Black. You guys have been brothers for quite a while, haven't you?
Since day one.
There you go. And you've got a book out. Now, this is a book for a really good cause. The book is to help, first of all, kind of shed some light on Rett syndrome, but also to help find a cure for Rett syndrome. Now, tell us, sadly, you lost your daughter from Rett syndrome. When did you find out that she had this?
Well, I guess if you don't mind, let me give a brief description of what Rett syndrome is.
That would be wonderful.
So rare. It's a neurological disorder that is mainly found in girls. Boys can't survive birth. Some of them do, and that's rarer than the disorder itself. But basically what happens is there's a mutation of the X chromosome, and the characteristics don't show up at birth. They show up later on after they have already learned to have a vocabulary, learn how to walk, learn how to feed themselves, and then somewhere within 18 to 24 months or more, something goes terribly wrong, and you start recognizing that something is different about your child. And then what happens is that over a slow period of time, all their vocabulary starts to dissipate. They start having difficulties walking, and eventually most of them lose the ability to walk, and they certainly lose the ability to have any meaningful use of their hands. So actually what they do is they reverse back to infancy, and they live the rest of their life as an infant.
And this is something that right now we don't really have a cure. Is that correct?
That's correct. But the good news is, my belief is that a cure is in sight, and this is why. Our scientists have been able to come up with a gene that mutates, and therefore it narrowed the field, and the money goes further. And then they were able to design the medication that reverses the symptoms of Rett in the laboratory, and then the research got narrow and the dollars go further. And now the girls are in clinical trials where they're having success with the medication and the physical therapy. So my guess is that with continued efforts and support for research and awareness, my hope is to see a cure for Rett syndrome in my lifetime, so that I know that my daughter's life wasn't in vain.
To have, such a terrible, tragic thing happen in your life, but what a great response you've had to it. You've said, hey, we want to do what we can to make this go away so it doesn't happen to other people. And that kind of leads right into the Raise a Hand project that you're doing. When did you start the Raise a Hand project?
Well, for the first decade, we did local golf tournaments, bay fishing tournaments, and stroll-a-thons and concerts that my brother Clint was gracious enough to join in once he saw how serious we were about this journey that we've been on. And then we finally realized that we were not reaching the masses, and we were having very good local success. We wanted to do something that we could reach out to America. And so my partner, Dave Clements, is a professional photographer, a very well-published photographer, and he'd been shooting live concerts of famous people like Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr and George Strait, B.B. King. And so he noticed that they all had something in common, which was the use of their hands in a live performance. And most of them were either they had their hands in the air for some reason or whatnot, and realized that let's make a book, and we'll call it Raising a Hand. And so we continued to photograph artists. I'm a photographer as well. We continue to photograph artists and go to each and every artist and ask them to authorize the use of their photo, of our photo, to be in a book, and have them raising their hand for a cure for Rett. And we have 202 artists that said yes, and that's what the book is made up of. 202 famous people: Blake Shelton, Dolly Parton, Chris Christopherson, Merle Haggard, Ray Price, and we have blues artists, we have rock artists, Bob Seger, the Eagles. They've all come together in concert for our book. And then, of course, the book will reveal information about Rett syndrome, and it's not really overpowering source of information, but it's enough that hopefully people, once they go cover to cover with the book, they'll get a great appreciation for first their favorite artist and photography, and then what Rett syndrome is all about, and hope they get involved and help us with our cure.
Again, the book is called Raising a Hand, a photographic music festival with a cause. Where do we find it?
Well, right now the book is available at raisingahand.com. Once we get to a certain phase, we have Rich with the PR firm company that reached out to you is going to help. That firm is helping us go across America and promote the book and awareness for Rett. That's
awesome. Again, visiting, if you're just tuning in right now, we're visiting right now with Kevin Black. He's got a book called Raising a Hand, and it is an opportunity for you to buy a book that's filled with over 200 celebrities that have all signed off and said, hey, yeah, you can use my image to help raise money for Rett syndrome. And I'll bet there are a lot of people right now that have never heard of Rett syndrome. Kevin, I can tell you, I hadn't heard of it before. This is something that I appreciate very much what you're doing to help people. How old was your daughter when you lost her?
She was 16.
Right now, I've got a daughter that's about that age, and I cannot even imagine what you went through when that happened. And it's so great that you took that terrible moment in your life and turned it into a positive by saying, you know what, we're going to do something good so other people don't have to go through this, and getting the word out about Rett syndrome, and also doing what you can to help raise money, because proceeds from the sale of this book help with research, right?
That's exactly where all the money's going. For over a decade now, we've been trying to give dollar for dollar, and we do have certain expenses, but they will be minor because our goal is to fund the cure for Rett syndrome. So I just want all of your listeners to know that this is the real deal, and we plan on curing Rett syndrome. And I encourage everybody to go to raisingaHand.com so that they can get a better idea of what Rett syndrome is and why they should get involved to help us.
And the thing that's really neat, it sounds like you've got quite the span of different artists in there. So like the music we play on this station here, you've got artists, but you've got things, even if you don't like our kind of music, you've got people all over the board. You got Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, George Strait, Willie Nelson, Jimmy Buffett, the Eagles. I mean, you got kind of just about everything covered, don't you?
Yes, we do. That was a 2-year project that we had a lot of painful moments, a lot of tears, a lot of happiness, a lot of doorways that we had to figure out how to unlock. And we finally accomplished our mission, and I believe Courtney has been with us the entire way.
Well, it's amazing what you're doing, and I'm going to plant a seed in the mind of everybody listening right now, because here we are sitting towards the end of October. We've got this thing coming up in 2 months called Christmas. You got to do something for Christmas for people that you love anyway. Go onto this website, raisingahand.com. Go on there, buy the book, make some people happy, but also help to find a cure for Rett syndrome to make other people happy as well and to help thousands of people. What a wonderful way that would be to get your Christmas shopping taken care of today, and you don't have to even think about that. Cross a bunch of people off the list and buy them a really nice book.
Well, I do have to say, and I appreciate all that, but the problem is that our book won't be available. What we're doing is pre-selling the book in hopes to have the funding to, we will have the funding to purchase the first 5,000 copies, and we'll distribute those to all of the pre-orders. And then that will allow us to purchase another 5,000 copies. That's when we'll go out on our march across America, and we will continue to order, hopefully up to 1 million books.
When do you plan on having the first 5,000 in? So if I went on today and bought a book, when would the first 5,000 be ready to go? Do you know?
Well, we would send you that book in February.
Okay, in February.
The book is going to print, and unfortunately, it's a minimum of 4-month process for the turnaround of the book for the hard copies to get in our possession. And it's a beautiful tabletop, black and white photo essay, and it's really unfortunate we couldn't get it out before Christmas, but you can still gift it to someone, and then they will receive it. And along with that, the song that, if you have time to play, is a song that I wrote for Courtney that will accompany the book. So everybody that purchases the book will get a free download of that song that I recorded in Nashville, and my brother Clint helped me produce it.
And that they get that download right away?
They'll get the download. It will come with the book.
Okay. Well, we're going to send the folks out to check out the website, raisingahand.com. Kevin, thank you so much for doing what you're doing. This is what an amazing task this must be to take on, but what a great job you're doing to help tell Courtney's story, let people know about Rett syndrome, and help make a difference. Thank you for doing that.
You're very welcome, and here's where you take the leadership role. If you will go on and pre-order your book, then you can turn around and ask your listeners.
I'll do it. I'm going to jump on there right now. I'll be the first.
On the spot like that.
No, that's fine. I want to do it. I want to help, and I'm looking through the list of names of people that are in here, and I'm like, I love these guys. This is great, and how cool is it that they all signed off? Over 200 people signed off on having their photo put in a book that they're not making anything, but it's going to a good cause. That is awesome that they've done that.
Well, to my knowledge, and we did some research, this is the first book like this, where that many artists came together for a cause in a photographic book, specifically for a cause. And the music community always comes together and helps in tragedy for flood victims and whatnot. And there are so many tragedies out there, and we're just one of them. But the cool part of it is we expect to cure this thing very quickly. I can't tell you what a comfort it is to know that people are out there supporting us, knowing that there are so many other causes that they can support.
Well, we're going to be cheering for you on the sidelines. I will go on and buy a book. I'll do that today. Raisingahand.com. I encourage everybody else to do that as well. Get out there and do it. And I couldn't get off the phone with you without telling you this. When your brother was on, your brother Clint Black was on Celebrity Apprentice, I was cheering for him all the way. So you have to let him know that we were rooting for him on the sidelines for that too. So It was fun to watch.
He actually he won some money for us, and they presented the check to us, and we gave every cent of it to International Rett Syndrome Organization for research.
That's awesome. Well, it's very inspiring to see what he was doing to help back then and what you're doing right now to help make a big difference with Rett syndrome. So thank you for doing what you're doing.
You're very welcome, and thanks for your time or allowing me the time on the radio to talk to your listeners.
Definitely. And music right now from Kevin Black. This is a song that when you go on and buy this book, you're going to get a download. We're going to play a little snippet of it for you now so you get to hear what it's like. And thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Here's Kevin Black, A Tear for You.
Today's a good day for a memory. How long has it been? I keep a picture of you in my head. There's so many things I wish I could have said to you. Here comes the moment where I start to cry. Here's a tear for you, and here's a tear for me, coming together with the perfect smile. Those who know me know that I'm happy to only have had you for a little while.
This is Kevin Black, and thank you for listening to John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by CarsForSale.com. If you're in the market to buy a car, truck, or van, find thousands of vehicles to choose from at CarsForSale.com.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
For like the 8th day in a row, it says Caps Lock Day. Why would that be on here again? It's maybe not been 8 days, but haven't we had that like 200 days?
Yeah, it's been a few days.
I'm going to just keep celebrating until they quit telling me. It's also International Stuttering Awareness Day. There was a gentleman on America's Got Talent, Drew, what was his last name? Drew
Lynch.
Drew Lynch. He's a comedian. Did he win it? Did he win the whole thing?
No, he was second place.
Second place. Well, anyway, I think that today, being International Stuttering Awareness Day, we should watch some YouTube videos of him.
There you go.
He was very, very funny. It's also National Nut Day and Smart is Cool Day. So if you're smart today, you're cool. Tomorrow, back to being smart. It's going to do it for our interesting things going on today. Get out there and celebrate one way or another. Do it on this Thursday, the 22nd day of October.
This portion of the program is brought to you by StoneGroupArchitects.com. It's more than a building. It's design and function working together. Check out the project portfolio at StoneGroupArchitects.com.
How is your marriage, Heidi? We have a test to find out. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Some people think that money determines how well a marriage will work. Others think the number of kids. Still others believe your life reveals the soundness of a marriage. What's that? Still others believe that your love life, reveals the soundness of a marriage. However, some experts say it's how you fight that determines whether your marriage will succeed or fail. Ooh.
Here we go.
For each of the following questions, give yourself 1 point if your partner almost never experiences a situation, 2 points if you sometimes experience a situation, 3 points if you experience a situation frequently. All right, you ready for this? So 1 if it's a few times, 3 if it's a lot of times. Little arguments escalate to ugly fights with accusations, criticisms, names, callings, and bringing up past hurts. 1, never happens. 2, sometimes. 3, frequently.
3.
It doesn't happen. I'd say 2.
2?
Listen here, woman. I'm going to start calling the names. No. Okay, if you want to say 3, put that down. My partner criticizes or belittles my opinions, feelings, or desires. 1, 2, or 3?
3.
3. I sound terrible. 3. My partner seems to view my words or actions more negatively than I mean them to be. 1, 2, or 3?
3.
We'll just move to the bottom of this. When we have a problem to solve, it's like we're on opposing teams. 3.
No. That one I would say 2.
No,
because it depends. It depends on the problem.
I seriously think about what it would be like to date or marry someone else. Oh, I've never done that.
Oh, no. Never.
Brian Regan. She thinks of you all the time.
Okay.
7.
Wow.
I feel lonely in this relationship. Never, sometimes, or frequently.
Never. We're never alone.
I don't think so either. When we argue, one of us withdraws. Never, sometimes, or frequently. That's usually
I don't think either one of us ever backs down.
I back
so
down.
there's no...
Because if I didn't, this marriage would work. 8 to 12 points, your relationship is probably in great shape. However, there is work to do. 13 to 17 points, consider this a yellow light. You need to be cautious. 18 to 24 points, this is a red light. Stop and think about where the two of you are headed. I think we scored like 98. That's not good. All right. Well, that wasn't a whole lot of fun. Thank you so much for listening. I hope we'll both be back together in a bit on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Has this ever happened to you, Heidi?
What's that?
You've gotten a telephone call from somebody right after you were thinking about them?
Yes,
Turns
actually.
out you are psychic. Did you know that?
I am not psychic.
I have that happen to me, too. Well, according to researcher Rupert Sheldrake, they say that is proof of what they call a telephone call telepathy. In their study, people were asked to give researchers names and phone numbers of 4 relatives or friends, and they had those people call the subject in the study who had to identify them before they answered the phone. And it says there were people who got it right nearly half the time. He says the odds of it being by pure coincidence are 1,000 billion to 1.
Out of only 4 names? No, it's not. It's 1 in 4.
You should be a researcher. He said he got the same result with people asking to name 1 of 4 people sending an email before it arrived as well. However, the study involved just 63 people, so many people are skeptical. Heidi's one of them. She just thinks we need to change those odds. Your odds are 1 in 1,000 billion. Or 1 in 4, however you count things. All right, we got more on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by GunUp.com. If you're a gun lover, you'll be in heaven at GunUp.com. Built by experienced military veterans, shooting sports competitors, and publishing professionals. They have awesome stories and articles that are read by millions of gun enthusiasts. Check it out at GunUp.com.
A new study suggests something encouraging for busy people. So if you're a busybody, this might be good news. Every minute of movement counts towards the 150 minutes of moderate, intense physical activity we're supposed to get every week.
Huh.
That's good news.
That is good news.
So even just walking to the door, there you go. You got some stuff. University of Utah researchers found that every minute spent engaging in some sort of moderate to vigorous physical activity was associated with lower body mass index and lower weight. Seems kind of obvious, but according to the current physical activity national guidelines, aerobic activity should be performed in episodes of at least 10 minutes. And the everyday stuff like walking the dog or climbing a flight of stairs, they say that's not long enough to count towards the guidelines. This new paper published today in the American, whenever this was typed, probably last week, this new paper published in the American Journal of Health Promotion suggests that reaching those 2.5 hours, minute by minute, is just fine. Saying if you don't do it all at once, that's nothing to worry about.
All righty.
Get your heart rate up as much as you can. Coming up, we have things you probably didn't know about babies. That's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You can get razors sent to your door each month for just $1, plus a couple of bucks shipping. It's an amazing deal. Log on to DollarShaveClub.com/radio to learn more. That's DollarShaveClub.com/radio. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
All right, I said I was going to tell you about babies, but I actually read this, and it's ridiculous. We're gonna skip the whole baby thing. And mother, please quit sending me these jokes. Hey, a Chicago man recently wanted to impress his wife, so he came up with a foolproof plan, Heidi. Listen to this. He thought this is going to do the trick. His plan was to go to the local high school, hire a couple young guys, give them some ski masks, have them break in and, wink, wink, rob the house, and, of course, tie his wife up. And he would then come home and save his wife from the wink robbers by chasing them out of the house. So far,
my goodness.
Sounds like a great plan, right?
No.
It's a fool that was planning this in the first place. So don't do that, people. Anyway, so far sounds like a foolproof plan, and it might have worked. But the only problem was his wife put up a pretty good fight. And she was able to call 911 before he could swoop in and save her.
Oh, no.
He has now been arrested for organizing a crime.
Oh, no.
Against his own wife. He thought it would be funny. It wasn't funny at all. He thought, hey, I'm going to be the hero. This is my plan. He's lucky nobody got hurt. The wife beat the snot out of these high school kids.
That's awesome.
And called 911. It's a good thing she didn't have a gun.
Right? Right.
What
She
would
could
have
have killed
happened
the
if she would have
intruders.
shot these
Yeah.
kids? Anyway, there you go. That happened in Chicago. I had a plan one time I thought was really smart. I remember I had this little speaker and a wireless microphone, and I put I stuffed a dummy me under the sink, and I had like the legs hanging out, and I put the speaker under there, and I thought that I was talking into this microphone. It turns out I turned it off. So when Heidi came home, I was like, "Hey, help me! I'm stuck under the sink." And you walked in the bathroom.
I
like,
could
what
hear
are you
exactly
doing
where
in
your
here?
voice was coming from. I'm so stupid.
That was a foolproof plan as well that also didn't work out. But hey, at least nobody was involved. I didn't have to call 911, nothing like that. Coming up, we have some good news for you. That is on the way on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV. Call 1-800-259-7646. They have hundreds of channels to choose from, with many packages to fit your viewing desires. Learn more at 1-800-259-7646.
Fall is a beautiful time of year. And there are places around the country that have some absolutely wonderful, beautiful things that you can see, like the color of the leaves changing, all of that.
Oh, I love that.
Massachusetts is known for that. And there are other places in this area that are known for that. As a matter of fact, every once in a while we get to see some cool trees that are changing color. But there's no need to go on a long fall foliage trip. According to NBC News, they now have a guy that came up with an idea that is probably the smartest thing that I've seen all day. But then again, the stories I read are of dumb people doing dumb things. But listen to what this guy came up with. He offers a mix of red and yellow and orange-colored leaves, and he'll mail them to your doorstep. Yeah.
Why?
Kyle, a guy from Boston by the name of Kyle Waring came up with this idea, and he selects the leaves carefully and preserves them. Each bundle includes 3 leaves and a mix of colors for $19.99.
Are you kidding me?
No. And plus shipping on top of that. He says the site has booked 50 orders in the first 20 hours that he's had this thing online. Are you kidding me? People are buying his leaves. I mean, Heidi, we could be billionaires. Let's just rake up the whole neighborhood, and we'll sell these to the suckers online who apparently have never seen leaves.
This is how you know
That
our
is
country
crazy.
is in so much trouble.
3 leaves. Yes, these are things that, he would have to pay to get rid of usually. 3 leaves for $19.99
Wow.
plus shipping. This guy is laughing all the way to the bank.
Absolutely. That's insane.
But is that the coolest thing ever? I thought it was good news because I was like, hey, our economy must be doing well. People are spending $20 on 3
my gosh.
leaves.
That's insane.
Useless, no good. This guy was going to pay to throw them away leaves. I've never seen you speechless, Heidi. She's shaking her head, which you don't quite get on the radio, but she is shaking her head. I want to make sure you know that. All right. That's going to do it for the John and Heidi Show. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday.
Time now for the bonus break. Only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
And your bonus break is brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club. You can learn more on their website, which I'll tell you in a second. But first, let me tell you why you should go there. If you shave your face like every day or even every other day or even a couple times a week, you need to go there. If you shave your legs, how often do ladies shave their legs? Once a month? Once a
It
week?
depends on the time of the year.
You get into that woolly mammoth season. If you shave your legs once in a while, is that safe? Once in a while? You're going to want some of these razors. And I even talked to a guy that shaves his head. He's follically challenged. Is that the way you say it?
Sure, I suppose.
So he shaves his head, and I was like, hey, you need some of these razors because they're awesome razors. They do a darn good job, and they're very affordable. And the cool thing is they deliver them right to you, so you don't have to go out looking for them. They'll bring them right to you. Go to the website, dollarshaveclub.com/radio. And our bonus break. How about this? This is actually kind of funny. This was sent to me as well. Kids say the darndest things, Heidi.
Okay.
Do that when we're done, all right? Just pay attention over here.
Okay.
First grade kids finishing the famous Proverbs. So these are all a bunch of first graders, and they were finishing Proverbs. So it says, better to be safe than punch a fifth grader.
Okay.
I thought that was kind of funny. Again, a first grader. Better be safe than punch a fifth grader. Strike when the bug is close.
Oh, cute.
It's always darkest before daylight savings time. Don't bite the hand that looks dirty. Again, first graders finishing these famous proverbs. You can't teach an old dog new math. Hey, it's true. If you lie down with dogs, you'll stink in the morning. And the last one is, where there's smoke, there's pollution.
Oh, cute.
Thank you for sending that over. If you got a fun email, be sure to send it over to me. I'd love to put it on there as well. You can learn more at johnandheidishow.com. Over here in Kenya, actually, you know what? We're going to save that. I'm going to use that because, well, I'll share it right now. In Kenya, 12% of children don't live to see their 5th birthday. How sad is that? 12%.
That is very sad.
Of those still living, nearly 2 million live without food, shelter, and their parents. According to Mission News Network, disease, poverty, and sickness run rampant through the country's rural villages. But then, in the midst of despair, an organization is making a difference. It's called Kids Alive International. The organization partners with churches in America to provide a connection between the church and the communities in Kenya, allowing the churches to see firsthand how their gifts are being used. So it's a way for them to say, hey, we're going to make a contribution, and then they see the village that they've sponsored, and they actually get to see firsthand. But isn't that amazing? 12% of the kids in Kenya don't live to see their 5th birthday.
That's awful.
That is so sad. Postal workers in Bakersfield, California came to the rescue when a man was beaten while trying to stop a thief from grabbing his wife's purse. Yeah. James Gavo tried to take an elderly woman's purse, and when her husband tried to stop him, Gavo punched the man in the face. That's when several workers inside the post office stepped out and helped in. Or stepped out and stepped in. Stepped out and stepped in. There you go. And helped out. Stepped out and helped out.
Okay,
I don't know.
anyway.
I was trying to say too many things at once. Police said the workers grabbed him and literally sat on him until the police got there. Gavo was arrested for attempted robbery and just flat out being a bad guy. Trying to steal an old lady's purse? That's not nice.
And honestly, how much is in there anyway?
Yeah. I don't know. Well, you never know. Maybe she's loaded. Who knows? But, yeah, it's just a bad idea. And our final story for our bonus break. Hans Becker decided to rob a branch office of the Austrian Savings Bank, but he made 2 big errors. 1, he didn't wear a disguise of any kind. And 2, he chose a bank where he was a customer, and he was known by many of the employees. When he left with his cash, the teller called the police and said, hey, we were just robbed, and they told him exactly who it was. Made it even easier. He didn't have very far to go for them to find him. He's headed straight for a bar just down the street.
Oh, my goodness.
Where he proceeded to celebrate his newfound wealth with several hostesses guzzling down 5 bottles of champagne. Not surprisingly, the police said he offered no resistance when they arrested him. So that guy was apparently robbing the bank, saying, I'm going to get some money and I'm going to go have some fun, and I'm probably going to be arrested.
Celebrate.
I'm going to let him know. Hey, if you need me, I'll be at the bar up the street. There you go. It's your bonus break brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club. Learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio.